Hello? I hope I'm audible now. Please let me know. If so, welcome everybody. I've been talking to you for the past 10 minutes, but hey, okay, we've sound. Okay, that's good. So yeah. We are here with Challenger Tier qualifying in Bahrain. It is a night, of course. 15 minutes to go, and we are on with pace for our first hot lap. Yep, we hear you now. Yeah, that's exactly how it's supposed to be. So yeah, in our mediumly large Challenger Tier grid, we have 13 drivers lining up today. Ypsinio's giving us the pleasure of watching him once more, but also Martin, who we will jump to right now, I think, is coming in as a newcomer, and if I saw that right, he's coming from Rocket Sundays somewhere, or maybe Ascension. Since I saw the Ascension Rocket League Twitch account in the Twitch chat already, I can only assume it might be Ascension. On the other side, there's Havoc, who's Ascension as well, so... Well, I don't know. Could you confirm that, please? I'm lost. However, he's gonna be one of the first drivers setting a valid time, as Pace's lap time has been invalid. Clay might be coming over the line now, and a 1:27 is the first time to watch. As... Yeah, he's the first guy to finish a lap. Percy, who has been a bit quicker than the other drivers classically, but now driving on the mediums, 2 seconds behind, as Havoc claims the next pole position, followed by Ypsinio and Keyboard Driver at 4 P2 and 3 in their first stint. Martin's debut lap is enough for a P6 at the moment, but he's surely gonna be dropping down once the other drivers will finish their laps. We see the 2 Ferraris. I don't know if they are towing or if they just randomly ended up behind each other. Not from us. Okay. No Ascension boy. I've seen him interact with Herbie or something, as I assume he gave him his roles as well. So, yeah. Thought it might be an expansion on the Herbie drivers in the first second. Professor Borlip had some kind of a comment together here, maybe with the Ferrari of Stanny, who sets a 1:33 lap time. Quite a bit slower than the rest. No offense, obviously. And King Pace with the improved lap time. Borlip even slower there. I think he might have run into the rear of the Ferraris. He's not having ERS on at the moment, so I wonder if he's going for a hot lap, or if he's just, I don't know, enjoying his best life. Well, Gimp and crew both have not left the pit lane yet, as Borlip is going quick. And now finally has the CRS activated. Has been on 0 for the entirety of the first sector. Certainly not what you want to do if you are going for a hot lap. However, we're gonna see if he can still make it count sometimes. I mean, 1:38 is a pretty bad lap time. Pretty sure he can't improve nonetheless. Might be looking for P8-ish. As Ginge has put out a new quickest lap, sitting on provisional pole with a 1:27 flat. And it's Borlip slowing down again. I think he might be going for another hot lap attempt. Pretty soonish, as the majority of the drivers is returning into the pits. Whereas crew might be on an outlap for his first attempt. Well, Borlip slightly quicker than his previous lap. Timed that pretty much perfectly. Has the open air in front of him now. Has the ERS activated. And he's going for the next lap. I think as soon as Crew heads into his hot lap, we will jump over to him, as he's likely one of the contestants for pole. And we've seen Ball Up for quite a while now. Oh, and there's the invalid lap, and that is my Steam overlay. Great. But that is Crew now, who we are gonna be with. Well, let's talk a bit about Bahrain, maybe. As it is obviously the racetrack that we are gonna see for the next few minutes, so let's phrase it like that. Crew obviously being one of the title contestants in the past. Certainly looking for a decent first hot lap, as half of the qualifying has almost passed already. And quite a bunch of drivers are on outlaps again, so we will have plenty of material to spectate after he ends his hot lap. So far, no invalid lap. I think the last point where it can really happen to you is probably the exit of the first turn in Sector 3. Before that, can run wide here, but he doesn't do that, even though the entry is not optimal. It's gonna go through, don't touch the curb on the inside, you're gonna spin. Purple Sector 2, driving a very, very decent round here. And well, that last turn is pretty difficult to mess up, but it's not that easy to perfectly nail it. I think that was decent. We might be in, well, not for the very best time. P6 currently, splitting the two racing points. Didn't seem to have the very best first sector. Let's jump on board with Havoc, who's currently sitting in P2 and surely gonna be able to go better. As the qualifying slowly but steadily reaches the later stages. I think usually you get 3 decent hot lap attempts in, with all the outlap, in-lap, pit stop, etc. This is the second one for most of the drivers. Crew and Ball Up, I think, have had several attempts. Yeah, it's not necessarily been better for them. Slightly slower delta after Sector 2 for Havoc here. It's really got to absolutely nail the last corner. Otherwise he's not gonna go for pole. On the other side, Ginge is not too far away, but Havoc abandons his hot lap and will maybe go for another later on. Didn't see Absinio's meantime after Sector 2 there. But we're gonna see how he's been going through that Sector 3 once we've seen the finishing time. And that's an entire second quicker than his previous time, and half a second quicker than the pole time beforehand. So Ginge has it all to do with the other drivers to get up into the 125 region. It's gonna be spicy for sure. Clay is very, very slow. Probably gonna be leaving Ball Up past, who's on an outlap. That might be Keyboard Driver. On an invalid lap though. And what's going on with Martin here? Seems like he's going quick. At least somewhat quick. I think he might be missing out on quite a bit of time in the end. I think... okay, he goes into the pits. Oh, he's gonna have a bad awakening if he enters the pit like that in the race. He's gonna be getting a heavy penalty. Whoever is like in contact with Martin should tell him that pit lane assist is disabled in the race, and he shouldn't do that like he did. So, the only driver on fresh tires currently is Baller, but he's on the mediums, so I wonder if he's gonna be way quicker than his rivals. He's surely gonna be quicker than his previous lap time, as that was pretty terrible. That was not the optimal way through the last turns. And he's even slower through Sector 2. Did he always just slow down in the third one? Potentially. His lap time is not that bad. Might not be optimal, but it's not 1:38 territory. To be honest, his lap time is pretty damn decent, considering that he's driving mediums. Okay, Pace and Stanny, I think. Nope, it's Badders. Been returning to the pits. There's pretty much only Stanny and Havoc on track currently. Havoc obviously on an outlap. As the lap time invalidated will not matter too much, as the lap that matters is gonna come in the very next one we're gonna see. Judging by the time, it's probably his last attempt. Might be able to get another one in. No, actually he's not. So that's definitely his last set of tires he's gonna drive. Maybe he can get another hot lap in. Oh, surely he can. But it won't be on fresh tires, and obviously he will maybe have to charge up the ERS again. So, yeah, not the situation you want to be in, especially since P3. I mean, it's decent. But I think, considering that Ypsinio went so much quicker than everyone else, he might want to improve his lap time. Gonna be hard though, as he messed up Sector 2 pretty badly. It's gonna go slow on maybe a little bit of ERS saving mode. To eventually go for another hot lap immediately after. Quite a bunch of drivers on outlaps now. I see a Williams coming over the start-finish line. That shall be Kiwa driver, and he's returning into the pits immediately. Might have invalidated his lap in the very last turn. Obviously not what you're gonna go for. And instead we're gonna be sticking with Gimp, who's in P7. Has been very consistent throughout the recent races. Actually, I'm gonna try to find the scoreboard, as I failed to run over it before the races actually go ahead. So we just will give it a quick rundown as we follow Gimp through turns of Sector 2. It's looking decent out of Sector 1. Keeping it together here, a little bit of a slide going on for him. But he keeps control of the car. Still not the optimal exit out of the hairpin, and this very next turn is the one that I absolutely hate. But he nails it. Gets a decent exit here. And I get the Challenger tier standing. So, as of Japan, what has been the last race? Top is pretty close between Crew and Percy, 123 points to 108. Keyboard Drive and the Williams following up with 92, and then there's a huge gap. Next driver following up is Professor Borlap with 57 points, and the midfield is kinda close. Constructors though, yeah, Williams is looking good with the addition of Ypsinio to the lineup. They've been racking up points way more frequently. Obviously, Yelamel in the beginning of the season has been a factor for that as well, as he's been very dominant. And they seem in a very good position to take the team championship home. However, McLaren and Alpha still somehow battling it out, and in the midfield it's still very close between Racing Point, Red Bull and Mercedes. So yeah, midfield's rather gonna be the more interesting part in this. I don't know if any one of you has watched F1 today, because I did miss it again, intentionally, of course. Well, since it's F1 at the moment, and IRL F1 is not really that interesting anymore, I can just assume it was a Hamilton Bottas 1-2. Or it was just as spicy as Mugello last, or 2 weeks ago. Still cheering for Williams over here, yeah. Even after the addition to the Herbie drivers. Hey, Havoc has improved his lap time. Ginge couldn't do it in the very last lap, but will try to do it again in this one. Bottas, Verstappen, Hamilton. That is actually quite spicy. Comes a little bit late, as I still think Hamilton has a more than just a decent lead in the championship. But hey, what led to Hamilton not being, like, first? He's even coming after Verstappen, and that's, like, unusual to say the least. Oh, Crew currently sitting in P1 as he has the new absolute best time with 126.2. Not interesting anymore. Last races have been absolute chaos and much fun. To be honest, I didn't see anything after... I think I didn't see from Monza on, so I didn't see Monza and Mugello, and, well, obviously the Hamilton got a 10-second time penalty. Oh, did he not enter the pit lane right again? Oh my god. Yikes, Ginge is dead. Let's head over to Keyboard Driver then, as he's coming over the last curb. He did a practice start at the wrong... What? Okay. I mean, to be honest, the only thing keeping F1 spicy is really Hamilton getting random penalties, right? Apart from that, it's like pretty much safe that he's gonna get good or one. Okay, ball up with a 126, last attempt on the hot soft tires. Going second row. And now it's only pace. Peg Hamilton. Yeah. So let's see the pace. By pace. Well, he's taking everything out on his way into the wall. Into the wall. What a well-coded game. I think we'll just sit with pace for the remainder of, well, the time running out, which is gonna be a minute. As I think this is a very beautiful perspective, and... well... Okay, so every driver that's going to the grid does a practice start in the pit lane. Hamilton did it half on track and like 50 meters away when... I think Hamilton and pit lanes don't go very well together. Can remember several occasions where that led to a spicy outcome of the race. Wait, what? He got 2 penalty points too, but the FIA just rejected them. Corrupt. Shaking my head. Only the Formula Sundays referee team is truly neutral. Didn't like FIA just recently like got taken over by Ferrari anyways, so shouldn't they be like, ah yes, penalty points, let's punish him. I mean, on the other side, it probably doesn't matter much. So he only has 8 now. Wait, he already has 8 penalty points. Don't you get like a race ban or something at 12? That would be spicy as well. Like Hamilton getting a race ban and Bottas just winning it and... ah no. Getting back on him in the championship. But hey, we have our qualifying grid here with Crew on top, Yepsinio in P2, Borlap following up in the Merc in P3, Havoc in the Haas, the 2 McLarens by Ginge and Percy. Keyboard Driver, second Williams there, as Clay and Pace get separated by Gimp before Battis, Martin and Stanny start outside of the top 10. And we will be heading over to the race in probably less than 15 seconds. Timers are deceptive in this game, never actually doing what they are supposed to. Yep, at 12. I was happy to see at 10 The FIA just released that they rejected the penalty points. I don't know why, haven't read yet. SMH. They have the opportunity to spice things up and they just don't. I mean, you don't even have to be a Hamilton hater to like to see that. Not that I would call myself a Hamilton hater, but I for sure hope he doesn't win another championship. Well. Weird things going on. Time's running out. We will head over to the formation lab pretty soonish. Speaking now. We should do some kind of prediction thing, but to be honest, like saying I'm lacking motivation sounds bad, so I will just say I lack time, as that is actually accurate. We have quite a bunch of coming togethers apparently in the Sundays community, Rocket Sundays drivers loving themselves a little bit too hard. Hopefully not gonna see that again in the race. So what's to talk about in this instance? We have a pretty heartbreaking point into turn 1, so I don't know if the drivers are not taking enough care, and I mean, I don't want to call anyone out there, but we've seen the Spa beginning. Okay, we're doing predictions in the chat. Yellow Miller saying first Yapsinio, second Crew, and third Professor Borleb. To be honest, I see Havoc up there. Crew wins the championship today. Keyboard driver in 4th. Yeah, I can see that. To be honest, our top drivers are not that, like, separated anymore. I have to back Havoc. Yeah. I think, like, Havoc is completely missing from the Yellow Miller prediction. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the last 2 races or something, but he's, like, he's quick. Okay. More crashes, apparently. Will not matter, as there's no damage. First Havoc, second Havoc, third Havoc. I doubt that's gonna happen. Would be interesting to see. I wonder how F1 would whip out that bug. Just like the Inferno Lewis bug, where he just was randomly in first position in Monaco in the end, I think. Even though he was, like, lapped. But yeah, lights are going off, and we are going to start. Good start for Crew, I think. The Williams of Keyboard Driver gets an amazing start as well, and Yapsinio overtakes Crew. Even better start for him there. Going down the inside, there's much contact there. A Ferrari being turned around. And that's likely to be Stanny. But the top drivers got away quite well and are on their way through Sector 2 now. We have Keyboard Driver immediately at the back at the top. And to be honest, let's, I think, switch to Borleb. See what he can do against Crew and Yapsinio. Well, the front survived at least, yeah. Havoc DNF, I don't know, I haven't seen him driving. Yeah, I think he might have decent chances. He was pushing at Percy the entire time in Japan, but with the rain it's quite difficult to overtake in Japan. Well, just typed in some names. To be honest, I doubt that Borleb is gonna be up on top, as he's been lacking a slight bit of pace, and that is a big crash up on front. And Borleb is all of a sudden on top. I wonder if there's damage to Yapsinio's car. Yapsinio definitely got front wing damage. I think Crew's car is looking decent still. Yeah, Yepsenio leaves him by to go into the pits and fit the hard tires probably, maybe the mediums. Keyboard driver going for a move down the inside. Thank you for that beautiful camera angle. As we've seen nothing. But he gets re-overtaken by Havoc anyways. Darth Stanny retired from the session, crashing on the pit lane apparently. Rip my predictions. Prediction ruined. Well, you're still good for Havoc P2, 1 or 3, or at least Archer's still good for that, and I think the battle up on top will be quite spicy, as I would value Havoc probably as the fastest driver from these 3, and Crew coming into the battle behind now, probably the second fastest. So yeah, they have to go through Ballab and, well, Keyboard Driver obviously, somehow, even though Keyboard Driver has shown quite blistering pace in recent races already. Go Havoc, yeah. But yeah, next lap we're gonna be seeing a DRS coming up, and that's certainly gonna spice things up as well. This Crew is already closing onto Keyboard Driver. Probably not gonna go for a move just yet. He should be saving his best efforts for the back straight. Does the quickest lap nonetheless. Both Ballab and Havoc go all the way to the right side. Okay, Havoc has the sound bug, so we will head back to Keyboard Driver, who sees everything from a nice angle. DRS gonna be activated. They are already side by side. Havoc with the DRS as well. Keyboard Driver coming out of the slipstream. Can he go through the inside? Havoc still next to him. Ballab is gonna be slotting in behind. And Keyboard Driver and Havoc both go past on the second straight. That was a decent move. Nice racing by these 3. And probably Keyboard Driver is gonna be looking for another move on Havoc on the next straight, which is a DRS straight again, as Bahrain has... Well, with this track layout at least, 3 DRS zones. Quite curious about how the new track layout will play out once the real F1 actually drives on it, and if we're ever gonna see it in-game. I think it would be quite interesting to like run a IRL F1 season in Sundays, obviously, with the new tracks and stuff. But to be honest, I doubt that Cody's making the effort to make the effort. Well, they have not seemed like they are overly willing to work on their games recently. So, why should that change now? We are entering lap 4, and it's still pretty bunched up on top. Havoc obviously the only one without DRS, and I think that's the thing keeping the drivers together currently. Havoc probably has a little bit better pace, but with Keyboard Driver and the others always being able to tow themselves back into attacking range, he's not really gonna be getting away until Keyboard Driver does some kind of a mistake. Well. Next DRS straight. And yeah, Keyboard Driver has almost had the 1 second gap. But yeah, with like 1, 2, 3, 4 straights, it's kinda hard for the driver up in front to get away. Havoc's probably really pushing hard right now to get out of that window. And it seems like he's done it. That's gonna be interesting. Keyboard Driver's not closing that gap until the detection point, which came, I think, about now. He's not gonna be having the DRS on the next straight, and that means Ballab and Crew can potentially have him look at him. Pit window open. Lap 5 to 8 recommended for a pit stop to the medium tires. And yeah, we see Havoc pulling away now that he does not have to worry about Keyboard Driver and the DRS anymore. It's gonna be interesting to see where Yepsenio is gonna come out. as he's on the hard tires. That should be older than 1 lap, but I might be wrong there. Let's jump on board with Crew for a bit, as he's the last in this 3-man trio. Really getting outbraked hard into the corner. Like, both drivers ahead just standing on the apex. Borlup is trying to go for a move here. Has the inside line, but Keyboard Driver gets the better exit. Can go ahead again. Not likely to be making a move until the main straight, where there's DRS again. And all this costs all of these drivers time and gives Havoc the time to pull away. Borlup's actually already going for a move on this straight, which means Keyboard Driver's gonna be having the DRS and he's immediately behind Borlup. And both of them are going into the pits. Interesting. Crew is going through. Lap 6 to 9, he says. Medium strategy for him. Interesting. And Borlup stays ahead of Keyboard Driver in the pits. As Keyboard Driver might have potentially lost sometimes in there, as he had to wait for Borlup to go past him, and otherwise it would have been an unsafe release. Hypsinio's only 7 seconds behind. That gap will grow. Though, as he has the older tires and he has the worst tires. Hard tires, obviously. Not working as well as the mediums. And yeah, I only see it now, but Havoc needs to get that 1 second gap ASAP. And yeah, he did that and it works pretty well for him. He can expand his gap ever so slightly on Crew. Crew's probably the second fastest out of the former quadruplet. But we will be focusing on a little bit of a midfield battle here, I think. Skimp and Percy are probably fighting this out for P6 and 7, if I saw that right. Maybe P8 and 9. But yeah, oh, Havoc 5-second penalty speeding the pit lane. Crew as well. That spices things up immensely, as both of them seem to have decent chances of taking the race victory, but now they need that 5-second gap over Professor Borlup and Keyboard Driver. And that is certainly gonna be interesting for them. Oof, indeed. As I think they can potentially work this out, but they absolutely can't allow themselves any corner cuts or similar things. Otherwise, yeah, they messed up bad. Crew and Borlup actually coming together perfectly again as well, as the little trio is united again, with Havoc being a little bit further ahead. AI? Or is it just an A? Oh no. Pace probably having his first laps leading a Grand Prix in Formula Sundays so far. He obviously has to pit still, but he's still gonna come out somewhere in the top 10, which is reasonable for him. And also he's coming out ahead of both McLarens, presumably. If I can count to 30, obviously. But that's not guaranteed, so let's not rely on that too heavily. But he should be ahead, as Gimp has been battling with Percy, I think, before their pit stop. However, Gimp and Pace should be coming in to the pits here. Time penalty is gonna be racked up. Batters 5 seconds as well. Gimp actually not scoring a 5-second penalty here. So that is a big advantage on him in the direct comparison in the later stages of the race, if he doesn't get taken out again. Also, I completely missed the follow, so shoutouts to JStud. If you're interested in racing, and the Discord links work at this point, which I can't guarantee for, as we've been raided by bots and, well, had to disable all the links. feel free to head towards our server and go to sign up. So, well, the basic channels. I think there's the message that tells you where to go. So, do that if you want. And if you're still here, of course. Keyboard drivers pushing up on Professor Borlap. They are both on equally old tires. And also Crew and Havoc are together up on top. Obviously, these two guys have to drive out some kind of a big lead. They need 5 seconds on Borlap and Keyboard driver. Both went away unscathed from the time penalty havoc that has been happening in the pit lane. Yeah, Yevsenio can keep his time quite well at the moment. Gonna be interesting to see whether Percy can attack him still. I wonder if Gimp had front wing damage when he came to the pits, because he lost like massively to Percy. 5 seconds or something. Keyboard driver forcing Borlap slightly wide there. Has to get such a bad exit out of that hairpin that it won't matter for him, and he's not going to be going for a move. Going for a move is probably on the schedule for Crew sooner or later, as these two guys are fighting out the lead, and they are quick doing that. 4 seconds lead already, so not much longer, and both of them are clear of their opponents further down the field in P3 and 4. Crew's coming very, very close. Assume he's gonna be using the slipstream down the first straight in Sector 3 and then trying to go past with the DRS. We're gonna see where that's gonna end up. And he's keeping his distance. In fact, he's coming a little bit closer, but I mean, it's a straight, he's behind another car. What did you expect? Exit is reasonably good. I think he might be in range on the straight. Definitely in range. Looking for the outside line. Let's switch up the camera's perspective as Havoc cuts through the inside. The Crew's probably trying to take him on the exit here. Once more, immediately behind. Does not have the DRS this time. Havoc should be having that, but didn't activate it. So Havoc stays ahead, well defended. And actually, further down, Keyboard driver got past Professor Borlap, so that's looking quite decent for them. And speaking of decently looking, Percy's surely gonna be happy to make a move on Yap in the next few laps, considering that he has fresher tires, better tires, and by that, probably better pace. I think he took like a second off him in the last 2 laps, which is not too much, but it's probably enough to go for a move in the DRS. So, he's getting closer again. Once more, not really getting in range. He's probably gonna have to use the toe down that first Sector 3 straight to get into attacking distance on the main straight. Not the very best exit, I think. Well, no, Yap is not gaining time, so that's... No, he is gaining time. Yeah, suboptimal for Percy here. Locking up a slight bit. I think both of the drivers are driving without assists, so... evenly matched around here, they should be. Yap moves all the way to the right side to deny the slipstream, and I think would actually be the right move by Percy to follow up behind, as he lost quite a bunch of time. And is close to be dropping out of the 1 second window again. 3 laps to go, and it's still pretty tight. Especially since Keyboard driver is closing up to the guys in front again. Borlap is staying behind him, of course, but I don't think he's putting as much pressure on Keyboard Driver as it was the other way around. Keyboard Driver's really looking like he has the pace advantage at the moment. And he's closing up to Havoc and Crew a little bit, which he needs to do, obviously. He needs to be in 5 seconds of Havoc to secure himself that top spot on the podium that he's certainly going to be looking out for. Can you check the penalties, please? I really would if there were not so many on-track battles, because, like, I would have totally missed that overtake here. Very, very likely. I'm gonna see where these guys will come together, and it's Crew in the lead. So what we know for sure is that Crew and Havoc have 5 seconds. That's pretty much set. Let's head over to Percy and Yap here. And Yap has 3 seconds now as well, so no real need to hold off Percy much longer. Percy has the inside line through here and goes through for P5 finally. I assume he's gonna be pulling away soonish, as he should still have a very, very decent tire advantage. We're gonna see. Yep seems to be quick around this track, and he might show that in form of some kind of an overtake here. Coming up into the next DRS zone, but I think he's already a good way behind Percy here. This is not gonna go for a move, and Havoc is losing out heavily to Crew. Crew really seems to have a big pace advantage over Havoc here, and well, soon they're gonna be entering the last 2 laps, so that's actually pretty bad for Havoc, as the time's running out for him to get back there and make an attack. Time's running out for basically everyone who wants to potentially gain another position. Gimp, though, is looking decent here, gets a very good exit, has the slipstream, has the DRS, and is chasing after that sweet P7. That's obviously, wait, it's 1, 2, 4, 8, 10, 12, 15, 18, no, I'm missing a number there. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, right? So it's still gonna be, oh my god, there's battling between Percy and Yap again. But yeah, it's still gonna be 2 more points for Gimp if he can get past pace here. Which is obviously something he's gonna be looking for. On the same side, Gimp is more of a safe driver, so I assume he's not gonna be risking too much to go for some kind of a Hail Mary move down in the last few laps. However, if Pace keeps scuffing his corner exits like that, he might be in for a good chance. Gimp there, not really clean enough to stay closely behind. Really have to care to not clip that inside curb. You're gonna be spinning 90% of the times, 100% of the time. But he's still in DRS range and might be in for a potential move, whilst the leaders have gone on to enter the final lap. And well, I think it's gonna be close between Ball-Up and Keyboard Driver in the end again. Obviously, Keyboard Driver's trying to close that 5-second gap towards the leader. Actually, 6 seconds right now, but he would need like an absolutely amazing, like Lando Norris-esque last lap to make that happen. As he's not really getting away from Professor Ball-Up neither. Gimp here. Pace seems to be struggling every now and then, but then Gimp just has to take weird lines through the turns to evade Pace being very slow. So yeah, it doesn't really help him too much. Now Professor Ball-Up is still very close behind Keyboard Driver. There should be no penalties separating these two guys. And it's gonna be interesting to see who's gonna be coming out on top. Well, Crew is certainly gonna cross the line first on track, followed by Havoc. Almost definitely. He's coming through, no time penalties on them, at least not separating them. Keyboard Driver is only gonna be P2, and Professor Ballab actually goes past Havoc via time penalties as well. We're gonna see if Yapsinio can close up to Percy, but he has a time penalty for himself. Wait, did Pace and Gimp get together? That would be very unfortunate, because Gimp would have been passed via the time penalty if he just stayed behind him in the end. Ultimately, let's head over to Martin. Maybe he can close out the Battis gap still, as I think Battis should have heavy front wing damage, and told you Crew won the championship. Well, yeah, does he actually? Yeah, I think he has. So, yeah, congrats on Crew. I think he pretty much needed DNF to not win it today. But he did certainly not DNF. Instead, he came through cleanly. And with Martin, the last driver's over the line. And that is a challenger done for you. Keyboard Driver getting the Driver of the Day award. As he's been driving a decent race and coming out in P2 in the end. Certainly a good result for him. And yeah. It's gonna be Crew, Keyboard Driver, and Professor Ballab on the podium. Might be the first podium for Ballab, but I can't remember that right. I think he had decent results in the past already. However, once we have seen the standings, which are gonna appear on screen right about now, we're gonna hop into another. Very happy indeed. Ha, there it is. Yeah, that was a good race. That was a good race. Crew was just absolutely flying in the last few laps. Fastest lap like 1.2 seconds quicker than everyone else. So, yeah. Great performance by all of you guys. We will head into a quick break as usual. And then we'll be back with the lead. We'll see you in a minute.